So it's June, so our big calendar for June, got to pay attention to mites. You got to start thinking about your harvest, your honey harvest, installing supers and cleaning excluders if you haven't already done that, if you use those. We'll talk a little bit more about this in the second half. Okay. And so supporting beekeepers in Colorado, we have a special guest tonight who is going to speak about her experiences. It'll be Shelley. And come on up.
Let's see if I can work this. Awesome. All right. Hello, Southeast Beekeeping Club. My name is Shelley Quattlebaum. Some of my goals for today are going to be getting to know me, my background in beekeeping, some of my volunteer work that I do. Working for the Colorado Department of Agriculture, I'm going to introduce you guys to apiary inspectors of America if you don't already know about them. I'm going to talk about the National Honeybee Survey and the 2024 results, and then how you guys can sign up to be a part of the survey if you're interested. I'm sorry, I got my something. Sorry. All right. So who am I? Like I said, my name is Shelley Quattlebaum. I've been married to my husband for 19 years. We have 2 beautiful daughters. One is going to be a senior this next year, next one's going to be a sophomore. Pray for me. I'm also an apiary photographer and an avid hiker. Great. I'm also a small business owner. My business name is Hops and Honey. I do grow hops. I do not brew hops, but I do use the HBA, the hops-beta acid that's inside of the hops for different products that I make and sell in conclusion with the products from my hive. I started beekeeping with my father in 2020. This is a picture of my dad and I placing our first nuke in the shiny new box in his field. I didn't even have a bee suit yet. This was 2020. So the bee suit I ordered was in the mail somewhere. So my dad is wearing a painter's suit with a veil. And I'm wearing overalls with everything tucked in, just hoping I didn't get stung. I also killed my first hive by November of that year. I quickly realized that beekeeping is not a solo hobby and education is on the way. I'm sure as many of you probably realized pretty quickly after the first year. All right. Learning to become a better beekeeper and protecting bees is my goal. I am currently in my 3rd year of the Journeyman program at the Colorado Master Beekeeping Program. My goal was to finish this year, but it might be a little bit delayed because I'm too busy doing surveys for other people, but I think that's all right. I'm also studying Master Melitology through Oregon State University. Melitology is the general study of all bees. Volunteer work, my life motto with hobbies you love. Have a mentor, be a mentor, volunteer your time, and donate to what you support. So one of the things that I volunteer for is the Weld County 4-H program. 4-H focuses on empowering youth to learn by doing through various hands-on projects and activities. 4-H aims to foster positive youth development by providing opportunities for learning, leadership, and civic engagement. And this is my little beekeeper. Something I really like to teach kids is to look for hope in a hive. We look for honey, open space, pollen, and eggs. Please steal that from me. I learned it from a beekeeper in South Carolina. It just stuck with me. Another thing that I like volunteering for is the Mountain States Bumblebee Atlas. Environmentalists are petitioning for about 20% of Colorado's 24 native bumblebee species to receive federal protection underneath the Endangered Species Act due to the significant decline in their population. This is a citizen scientist project. If anybody wants to ask questions or see about what is involved in doing that after we're done, I'd be happy to talk to you about it. It's nothing more than going out, netting live bumblebees, putting them on a little bit of ice for a little bit, we sedate them, we photograph them, and then we let them go. It's really fun. And it combines well with hiking. So last year I worked seasonally for the Colorado Department of Agriculture as their apiary specialist. I didn't know if I was going to be able to get my job back this year because this is a grant-funded position from the Animal Plant Health Inspection Agency. So you guys know a lot of different things happen with grant funding this year, but Colorado was lucky enough to get this grant. So I get to do my position again this year. I traveled around Colorado to survey different apiaries. I'm also the call representative at the Apiary Inspectors of America. Apiary Inspectors of America is a nonprofit organization focused on promoting health and well-being of honeybees and the beekeeping industry. We also help support the U.S. Beekeeping Survey and the annual loss survey through Auburn as well. In November of last year, I had the opportunity to travel to Auburn University. Dr. Jeffrey Williams, the director of the Auburn Bee Center, along with Project Apis M and the Apiary Inspectors of America, assembled a week-long training event for apiary inspectors and regulatory officers from the US and Canada. We spent a week together learning about triple labs, biology, and the movement. If you guys are interested in seeing the actual size of the trophy mite, I brought one with me today. No. Absolutely not. And it's nice and in there with the burrow of my tooth, so you guys can compare the differences between the trophy and the burrow size ring. Alright, so this is the survey that I helped perform. It's part of the National Honeybee Survey. It's been funded since 2009. And it's supported by APHIS as well. I have to put the people under the pay for it, you guys. All right, the survey takes an epidemiological approach to document honeybee disease pests and pathogens. The survey monitors for the emergence of invasive threats to the U.S. honeybee colony health. These possible dangers include Tropolaelaps, Apis-cerana, and slow bee paralysis virus. The National Honeybee additionally tracks markers for high health through inspection for pests and infections. We're also able to help test for pesticides and wax. This is one of the pests that we are sampling and searching for. You guys know the one on the left-hand side is the varroa. This is the one on the right-hand side, Tropolaelaps, that we are concerned about entering the United States. This is also another invasive species that we're looking for. This is Apis-cerana. This is the Asian honeybee. We're looking for them because trophy can be on them. All right. So the samples that I collect are sent off, half of them are sent off to the University of Maryland, and then this year, because we're on the western slope, I'm going to be sending my samples off to the Washington State Department of Agriculture. They're gonna start helping us run the samples this summer. If you guys have done the survey in the past, sometimes it takes you a little bit to get your results. Hopefully by having another laboratory supporting us, you guys are gonna get your results that much quicker. This is me. Hopefully it'll play. Ooh. Uh-oh. Peter, help me. I messed it up.
Oh.
Oh. If it doesn't work, it's okay.
It's that pesky internet again.
We'll give it a second or two.
On your last slide, you were saying you were looking for these and you saw varroa, and I was like, I have some. Actually, we all have some.
We all have, we are beekeepers, we are also varroa farmers.
Have there been many Asian bees showing up? The Asian honeybee? I've never seen it. It looks like it's just elongated with slightly different colorings.
Yep, much more defined, like black, white stripes on her.
Really?
Yeah.
And so we haven't seen much in the US, or is it regionalized?
It hasn't been found yet in the
Okay.
United States, thankfully.
Yeah.
Shelley, while he's working on that, some people have never heard of trophy. Can you explain what that is?
Yeah, so AAA laps, is another pest that we're worried about coming over. It was found in China in, I believe, 1997, and it's slowly been working its way across Asia and Europe, and now it's recently been found in the United Kingdom, I believe. So it's slowly coming this way. What happens when trophy enters your hive is that it will decimate your hive within about 30 days. Varroa emerge out with the brood, whereas the trophy feed on the brood. And they can survive off of the brood as well for a certain duration of time. So they can crawl out of one beehive, essentially go into another beehive, kill that hive off, crawl down, go get on some other animals, and then transfer. Trophy was originally found on rats, supposedly. It's a species hopping pest. So that's why we're pretty concerned about it and how it's making its way across from China across Europe right now.
Doesn't it infect native bees also? And Varroa does not?
The trophy are affecting the Asian honeybee, so I'm going to say that it might be affecting the native bees as well, since the Asian bee is a native bee. I don't know if trophy would affect our native bees per se, but I know that they would decimate our hives. Also with trophy, the way that they manage their hives in China is single brood chambers. If you guys think about how we manage our brood chambers, they're multiple, so we're gonna be able to feed the trophy a lot more. So this is me taking a survey of the field test in Boulder. So what I do is we choose a mixed capped and uncapped brood frame from one of your hives. Now I'm sampling from 8 hives within your apiary. That's one of the requirements. So from each hive, we pick a frame out of mixed capped and uncapped brood, like you can see. I dump them into that tub and I take a 1/4 cup out, put them in alcohol wash. Another 1/4 cup goes into a live bee box. This is me doing what's called the trophy tap test. This is a protocol that's been given to us from the University of Maryland. The thought process behind it is that trophy are going to be in the open cells. They're going to be going in between the cells pretty rapidly. And their thought is that if we whack the frame and we're going to, it really is whacking the frame too. I try my hardest to be gentle, but I have definitely popped a frame or two out. But the thought is that the trophy will eject out with the brood in the frame into that pan. Now I'm doing this 8 times over while I'm in the apiary. At the end of the survey, I flush everything that's been kept into this pan down into the bottom, and it gets filtered through a silk filter to catch any possible debris that could be in there. We can see Varroa really easily on this. Trophy are the things that are really hard to see. So we're hoping that when I'm flushing all of the contents of this metal pan down, and I catch it inside of one of the filters, that gets sent off to the lab, and a student sits there underneath of a microscope and examines every single square inch of this silk filter that I've sent him. That's where they're thinking that we're going to be able to see the trophy coming over. There's a lot of other universities that are currently trying to figure out better or alternative ways to sample for trophy, just because this is a little bit aggressive and it's not a very well-proven method. They're actually finding out that if you uncap an entire frame's worth of eggs and stick a contact sheet up against it and do that, the trophy will stick to this contact sheet, and that will give you a better visual than what the silk filters can do. Right here I'm taking pollen samples. I just have a coffee stir stick and I put it inside of the cell. I use wooden ones just because the wooden ones adhere to the pollen a little bit better and I can grab it out easier. Plastic ones don't allow me to grab the pollen out. I'm going to take a 1 inch by 1 inch wax sample. I don't want any brood, I don't want any honey or pollen in the wax. I just want it to be, that's it, wax. That goes into a little container and then that gets sent off to a lab for pesticide analysis. frame back to the beekeeper. Hopefully this will just go right.
Ah.
Ta-da!
Yay, Peter.
Yeah, Peter, thank you. All right, so what are the type of honeybee pathogens that we are looking for? Some of these might look familiar to you guys, some of them might not. One at the top of the list is acute bee paralysis virus, moving down black queen cell virus, chronic bee paralysis, deformed wing virus A and B, Israeli acute paralysis virus, Kashmir bee virus, Lake Sinai virus, and if you don't know, Lake Sinai is a lake in South Dakota, and it's a commonly found virus among commercial beekeepers that are in South Dakota.
But you found some in Colorado, right?
Yes, I did. That's why I'm gonna, it skipped a page. It's okay, there's more viruses. Why would knowing your apiary pathogen prevalence matter to your bees? Oh, it's skipping ahead, Peter. I'm going to, there we go. Where's the buttons? Have you guys seen the news? I lost my dramaticness. Have you guys seen the news?
No.
Recent losses are well over 50% with the combined financial losses over 139 million. In January 2025, commercial beekeepers began reporting severe losses in commercial managed apiaries. As losses unfolded, it was evident that over 60% of commercial beekeeping colonies had been lost since the prior summer, representing roughly 1.7 million colonies and an estimated financial impact of $600 million. And the commercial industry guys were finding thousands upon thousands dead. It was wow. Veronica and I were at AFB, or American Beekeeping Federation.
ABF.
While this was coming down the pipeline and all the scientists were there, it was crazy. All right, so a bunch of testing has been performed over the last couple of months. If you guys are on any email list, you found out that yesterday some of the news started coming out about what actually has been deemed the cause, though there's not been a real definitive answer given. They're just blaming it that the viruses were indicated in both pooled samples from surviving colonies and individual bee colonies, showing behavioral morbiditis. Viruses vectored by varroa mites were a major factor, and every mite tested carried genes associated with resistance to amitraz, one of the most common varroa insecticide treatments. Dr. Judy Chen said, while viruses are likely end-stage cause of colony death, these results do not rule out the importance of other long-known challenges to honeybees. So what did Colorado show on the report? So for those of you that don't know, I was only able to survey for 2 months last year just because I came into the Department of Ag a little bit late and then got a late start. So I only surveyed for September and October. This year I'm starting, yesterday, and then I'll be going all the way through November, so we'll be able to get a lot more data from Colorado. So this is just for a 2-month period. So you can see that Colorado has a pretty high amount of deformed wing virus B and A. We have levels of Nosema serrana, and we have Lake Sinai virus, and then along with the other ones that are going down the line. So when the data comes out, no personal names are associated with any of the data that is on the public report. It's just listed by month and by the county that it was tested in. This is what is listed on their public website. So you can go through and see varroa per 100 and how our numbers look compared per county. However, there was one county that I went and tested that had a big fat 0. Not many of us can say that. Yuma. In Yuma County, 0. Meticulously kept apiary.
Yuma County?
Yuma County had one apiary that I surveyed, 0 is well in it. And probably, I think, the lowest on all the testing too. It was impressive to me, I guess.
Which was it, you might say?
I will not say. Sorry. right, so how do you sign up to get surveyed? All you have to do to be eligible to get surveyed is have 8 hives that are healthy enough for me to take a quarter cup of bees roughly from each one of your hives. I leave the apiary with a 2-pound box of live bees and a 2-pound box, 2-pound box of dead bees and alcohol wash. As a bonus, so like I said, I would like to do longitudinal sampling is what it's called. So 10 apiaries will be sampled twice, hopefully one in the spring, one in the fall, and then that way you can gather pesticide data from both ends of the season for you. And so that'll only be for 10 of the 14 apiaries I'll be sampling from. So what to expect when I come to your apiary, you guys just have to schedule with me. I will come with sanitized equipment, all of my sampling, let's see, sorry, I lost my spot. Go back to it. So I'll come to your apiary with my sanitized equipment. We're gonna look at what your strongest colonies are. Like I said, I don't wanna get into colonies and take enough bees from a colony that isn't strong enough. I really try to recommend that you guys have at least 10 colonies. 8's the minimum, 10's better, just if we get in there and see that something's going on, I can move on to another hive and I can still get the amount of bees that I need before I leave. We make sure and find your queen. We can isolate her if you would like to. Usually we just end up taking that frame and putting her on the side because I don't want to bump the queen. I'll do my test and then you guys put everything back. Like I said, quarter cup of bees, wax sampling, it's pretty easy. I can make it very quick or we can draw it out all day. We're beekeepers and we all can talk pretty well. All right, so what happens if I end up finding something in your apiary that I wasn't looking for, like American foul brood or European foul brood? This is just a couple pictures of what this looks like in a hive. And then I'm gonna see, Peter, I wanna play another video. Should we look at it? That'll work. Nope. Because you make it work. Yeah. Sorry. If you guys don't know how to test for your hives for American foul brood, again, this is just a coffee stir stick. I'm going to pierce it through one of the cappings and give it a very light twirl and then pull it out. If it has a really long stretch, it's usually American foul brood. If it doesn't have a stretch, it's
European.
foul brood. Thank you.
AKA the rope test, the snot
The
test.
snot test, the rope test.
Peter,
It is, sorry. I think it's a good example of what you guys haven't seen before.
but I love how we can see the slides so clearly. It's Vanya Moves.
Let's try that one more time. I guess we're gonna learn about stretching.
Stretching and calisthenics.
We need all this for beekeepers.
That's right. Look at your super.
One more time. Let's just close this and try that one more time.
That was a powder year ago, was it? Jim County.
When PowerPoint is presented, it doesn't always want to share the screen.
There you go.
Hey, good job.
Oh, rewind it. There you go. Cool. It's not test. So if you see that in your hives,
It's bad.
holler.
Did that one also
So
smell
for
really
some of
bad?
us newer beekeepers, and I've seen the videos of that before, but like, what are you looking for,
on the brood frame, and what's giving you the indication of, okay,
Yeah, no, good, no, ask the questions.
as far as
No
like,
questions,
you know,
and
when
say,
you get to the point of testing for that?
that previous picture, thank you, Peter.
The little dimpled,
Sunken.
I opened this hive and like got hit
oh, okay.
with the smell of dirty socks, like it was rotten.
Okay.
You can tell it was rotten. That was one of the first indicators, and of course, I'm looking at all of the frames really quickly. If I see sunken cappings, this one's
Okay.
really, anything that's sunken in or concaved or pocked, like some of them you can see is pocked. An American foul brood, the brood dies after it's been capped, and so that's where it gets like, it starts rotting essentially in the hive, the foul brood. European foul brood, it dies before it's capped, so you don't get that funkiness.
What's the definition of problem?
Well,
I know there's a recommended by Varroa and it's a virus.
yeah. It's a virus that gets in with the cells and creates havoc. It causes it to rot. It causes your brood to smell and stink.
How would you define foul brood? Foul? Yeah.
It's, to me, it's like I would equate it to the flesh-eating bacteria that you hear about every now and then that humans get. It gets in there and it just starts eating stuff.
It will
And-
kill your apiary.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I've had it years ago, and you take the lid off, just like you said, you know immediately it stinks.
It's such a distinct smell that once you smell it, it's like one of those things
Yeah.
that's just ingrained into your brain.
And then I think we can test at the state level as well. No, not anymore.
No.
But and then at that point, you really need to dispose of the hive and come up with a burning plan.
Because Colorado doesn't have an enacted apiary act, we have a bee act, there's just no one to enact it or to enforce it.
Yeah.
There's no mandatory burn laws if you have American foul brood. Some states do have that, other states will take care of your hive for you and actually take it to an incineration unit for you, just so that you're not spreading it or it's not sitting in your apiary and having the other bees rob it out and spread it around. So what we can do in the circumstance, so if I happen to run across something like this, I do have some of the kits on hand to test on the spot for it, to give you a positive confirmation. However, I don't always trust the kits, so I send it off to Beltsville Bee Lab, and they will assess it for you. They'll give you the spore load, and then it's kind of cut off on the bottom of it there, but the reason why you have to, so the way to treat for American foul brood if you end up getting it in your hives is you have to get terramycin, and that is a prescription that you get from a veterinarian, because bees are livestock and they produce food that we eat. We have to have a veterinary feed directive, which means you need to have a relationship with a veterinarian.
Doesn't Thailand do the same thing?
Does Thailand do the same thing?
Does the termites, first time you stronger or something like
I
that?
don't know what Thailand is. I know that terramycin is what we need, that's normally prescribed for American foul brood here, but you have to get it from a veterinarian. Just because terramycin is actually a human-use topical antibiotic and it's FDA regulated, that's why you guys can't just go order it from Manlink and apply it. You have to get a prescription from a veterinarian to do it. But with tests from the Beltsville Bee Lab, hopefully your veterinarian will accept a piece of paper saying that you have a confirmed case. They'll write you a prescription, keep in contact with you, help you treat your hive.
I thought you had to burn the hive. Why are we treating a hive we have to burn?
You do not have to burn the hive because there's no bee act telling you you have to.
So you can
You
salvage,
should.
you can salvage the hive then?
So there's different houses, this is all your preference, right? I'm gonna find it, or Beltsville's gonna find it, they'll confirm it, it's up to you at that point of what you wanna do. What's recommended is that you burn the hive and the equipment underneath of 3 feet of dirt. They want you to dig the ground out 3 feet, put the entire hive in there. They also want you to soak that hive beforehand. Because what happens if you set a beehive on fire and the bees aren't dead?
It's ugly.
That's right.
So
You
make,
have flying flaming bees.
yeah.
So they
Make-
recommend big black trash bag, put the hive that's sick inside the big black trash bag, soak the bees, say a little prayer, say thank yous, bury it, burn it.
I did the 5-gallon bucket of dish soap that dispatches the bees. Then you get the recycle bags. The recycle ones are actually bigger. They fit over a hive. And then you have to, after you kill it, bag it, then you go dig your hole, but that way you don't have a robbing going on, which can also,
That's the biggest thing, is you want to burn that hive, because if you just soak the bees by killing them with soap water, it's just a quick way of euthanizing them essentially. Not what I like to do, but that's sometimes necessary. You can euthanize them and then dispatch them that way. Another house, if you want to keep your bees, is that you can shake the bees out into new frames, like new clean wax frames. And then you're still destroying the colony. You would still be treating those bees with terramycin. So, to each their own on how you would like to manage your apiaries.
Just a Perry's question, Tylenol and terramycin are two different medications that work through two different mechanisms, totally separate classes.
Is it still terramycin that they use? Yeah.
For European foul brood?
American foul brood, it's something different.
I thought European foul brood was the one that you can treat with antibiotics, because American foul brood is spore forming, and those
It's in the
spores
wax.
can last for 60+ years and are incredibly resistant.
I think the better thing to do is to euthanize and to burn and go that route, because even if you've taken care of the bees and you happen to leave that equipment out, it could be robbed by other bees in the apiary, and then it's gonna pass it along even more, and that's not our goal for hive health.
and don't sell the equipment.
And please don't sell equipment, don't buy used equipment, especially equipment that's really old.
What do you recommend for like the plastic pipes now? I mean, everything's kind of private, well, not everything, but private.
Say it, ask your question again, I'm sorry.
The plastic.
What would you do with it if it had AFB?
Right.
Burn it still.
I mean, burning plastic is like kind of fun.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's burning wax and honey, and it's not, it's a mess, and it's not. What I have seen done is people will do like a fire pit grate. Like they'll dig the hole, they'll put the hive in, they'll set the whole thing on fire and put the hive grate, fire grate, thank you, over the top of it to kind of keep it tapped down a little bit, but it's definitely needs to be out in the apiary, not at a burn time, or a high burn, what am I trying to say? Fire danger area, yeah.
And burn your gloves.
Department, they should be able to assist as well.
Yeah, fire department might help you too.
But bag it and make sure it doesn't spread. in the
Yep, biggest
meantime.
thing is if you find a packet. Yep. If you guys would like to see the results listed online, there's all kinds of fun graphs and data and sheets and things that you guys can look at. That's on that QR code. Otherwise, if you guys have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Harry had
And
his hand up over there.
that's my contact info if you guys would like to set up a survey time. I can do it Monday through Wednesday. Yes, sir.
So, if you ended up with American foul brood in your apiary, would you consider requeening with vaccinated queens subsequent to that, just for?
In the wax.
Spores.
Yeah. I don't know.
Because I mean, other than euthanizing that hive, other hives in the apiary.
Yeah, I don't know. That'd be a per person, that'd be a lot of, I don't know how much those queens are gonna end up being when they come out
Mm.
too. Yeah, I don't know. In my personal taste, I would just euthanize the colony and burn it to make sure to get rid of it.
But anything else you need to do with other hives in your apiary?
If you are in an apiary where you have a lot of hives and there's only one that's showing positive, I would euthanize that one, and then I would still take the terramycin and treat. And do a treatment protocol, which I think is three separate treatment periods, and they mix the terramycin in with powdered sugar, and then you treat the hive for milliliters. You have to do that on a 3 consecutive period, and then still retest to prove that you've gotten a hold of American foul brood. It's a really long process. Yes, sir?
Are there any disinfectants that are known to kill the spores? Like, well, Clorox or
Not that I know
quaternary
of.
ammonia
Not that I know
compound?
of. No, not that I know of. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yes, sir?
You know, to be fair, to not scare the newbies, American foulbrood is not that common.
No.
Yeah, it does come around once in a while, but in Colorado, it's not that common. But European foulbrood is. European foulbrood is easier to detect because, like you said earlier, it's before cappings. You see that gooey, cocoa-looking brood.
Yeah, you can see the scab on the bottom. of
Before the
cells.
cappings, it's European. After the cappings, sunken with little holes in it, American foulbrood.
Yeah,
So
it's really hard to
American
see.
foulbrood is not that prevalent, but European foulbrood is. European foulbrood could be treated.
Yep.
Usually, like you say, do a Shook's worm, requeen it.
Yep.
Get rid of the
Treating it
green.
with a vaccinated queen. Yeah,
What was your biggest surprise in the results you got last year?
I think seeing the 0. Honestly, like when I saw 0, I was like, well, I know who I need to buy queens from. Yeah, that was probably my biggest shocker. Who else had a question? Anybody got a question?
Yeah.
I had one, but Vance also had the same one. Good job, Vance.
When you look at all of your work last year, is really the culmination of all the surveys, the chart, you know, and is there any other material that is getting published at the end of the year?
So
And how does that get published?
University of Maryland's B Lab is using some of this data. They're giving it to the Animal Plant Health Inspections Agency. So all of this data is being used for their capacity of things, but really they're just trying to gather enough data to see what's going on universally across the United States. If Colorado is showing up really high, right, and all of these things, then we know that we might not be doing something quite correct in Colorado, or we're maybe not managing our bees in the best ways that we should be managing them if we're popping really high numbers everywhere. It helps us just help
Yeah, it just seemed like
judge.
CSBA, that would be something that we could publish through CSBA to go, hey, Colorado, here are the results for us as a community, not just education.
And then I also get to see the more in-depth results of the hives, like this is just what's published, but then I also can see some of the pesticide data that's coming back as well. And I think that's really important for people to see in their hives. Chrissy, did you get yours?
I never got my results.
That went out in my email I sent you today.
You sent me an email.
I did.
What did the pesticide information show collectively?
They haven't sent me Colorado's yet. Because of the labs being shut down, almost every single one of the bee research labs got shut down within the first week of January. So a lot of the samples that were sent off to be tested were just sitting for a very long time. And about a month ago, I got an email from my lab supervisor saying, hey, just so you know, they're finally being processed and everybody should be getting their results soon. So, sorry, I can't make them do it faster. I could have. Yes, sir.
They're also testing the pollen for pesticides.
So they alternate every 2 years, I believe. They'll take samples from wax to do pesticide analysis, and then on another 2-year, they'll do a pollen sample
Didn't
analysis.
they take samples for everything? That's what I was told.
Say that again.
Because of all the deaths, that they took samples for everything.
Because of all the dust they took the samples.
I mean, we've had, what, 65% of the bee colonies killed,
Yeah,
died,
yeah.
or maybe killed, who knows?
Yeah, I know. I'm just instructed to take the wax just because that holds better pesticide data is what I'm told in the pollen. But they can't test both just because it would be an extra cost to test both of them, so they choose testing the wax over testing the pollen.
So what's the management strategy if you do find some specific pesticide?
Say that again, sorry.
Is there a management strategy if you find a specific pesticide?
That's a good question. So we've asked them that. So what happens if I end up finding something? If I visually see a trophy mite while I'm doing it, I'm supposed to take a picture with my cell phone and I could call the lab, like immediately call them and talk to them about it. Otherwise, we're not gonna find out if you had something in your apiary until that lab student goes through that little silk screen.
So what about the pesticides? There's really nothing you can do about it, right?
We're just waiting. We're just in a holding pattern right now for the pesticides.
But if you found it, what would you do?
I can't do anything about the pesticides that are in your hives. Yeah. They're just collected on the feet and then the pollen of your bees and brought into your hive, unfortunately, and then tracked around. Yes, sir.
How do we get their corporation to quit putting systemic pesticides in the plants. They did it in Europe. That's what we do it here.
Lobby. There's lots of things I'm sure people would like to see changed or, adjusted a little bit, but unfortunately there's an avenue of doing that. Usually it starts with lobbying.
Speaking of lobbying, Fran Boyd for the American, he's the lobbyist for the American Federation. He is actually doing a seminar a webinar on lobbying and how the government works and what you can do. And that is on the 14th.
I can pull it up.
This Sunday the 14th at 5 p.m. Mountain Time.
Yeah, if anybody wants to learn about how to lobby for BP.
Maybe we can put that out for everybody in the,
I did think I forwarded it to onto the website, onto the Facebook, but I will double check that and do that again, or have it sent out. I'll make sure. Christy.
Appreciate it.
Yep.
Thank you.
Any other questions, you guys? I'll hang out. I'll be here. Yes, Ann?
So, I know you and I have talked about this, but what is your opinion about whether we should get the Colorado Bee Act revived?
In my case, I would like to see it happen just so that there is an enacted act. We have it, there's just nothing, nobody enacting it because it got defunded in, I can't even remember when it was.
96.
Yeah, 96. If there was a way that we could go about developing a program that wouldn't be taxing on the beekeepers, I would be all for it, but I know that that usually doesn't come hand in hand with one another. Usually there'd be a small high registration fee in some capacity, but I would like for that to then be going to some type of testing within Colorado so that we could offer American foulbrood testing within our state and not have to send it out. And that's what that little piece of hive registration would pay for, is just for testing for us so that we can have a little bit quicker answers for us rather than waiting 2 to 3 weeks on a lab. Yeah, that's my opinion.
I heard that University of Nebraska at Lincoln was doing their own testing at this point.
I believe so, and then so is Utah. Utah also does their own testing within their state. So, it's not like Colorado's have a shortage of universities that do stuff with bees.
But we're not the beehive state.
You're not the beehive state. All right, any other questions, you guys? Thank you for having me. This is just the kit that I show up with. That was my only hope to bringing this. If you guys wanted to see how the bees are shipped off, this is your fancy silk that I filter the thing from.
There's my girlfriend.
There's a fondant piece in the bottom of there, and then they get a little water tube that travels with them, and they all get put inside, and it says live queen. There's no queen in there, but this is how it gets shipped. The goal is never to take the queen, and I'll leave this up here too. This is the row and the trophy. Please don't walk away with it.
It's awesome, thank you.
All right, well, everybody, let's take a quick break. We do have some extra foodstuffs out in the lobby there. And cake. Oh, and by the way, I should mention, so we do accept donations at the book table there, and that helps to support the supplies that we use for the potluck. So if you feel so inclined, please drop off a few dollars. Thanks. I'll see you in a few minutes.